Two women campaign to become France's first female president. Two French politicians kicked off their presidential campaigns Sunday, seeking to become France's first female leader in next year's spring election. The far-right National Rally parties Marine Le Pen and Paris Socialist mayor, Anne Hidalgo, both launched their presidential platforms in widely expected moves. They join a burgeoning list of challengers
in the hearts and minds of Americans, but for former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer, the day after terror and tragedy struck will also remain a most vivid memory. As one of former President George W. Bush's right-hand aides, Fleischer had one of the most unique perspectives of what transpired in the hours after the 9/11 terror attacks. He shared those remembrances every year in a captivating Twitter thread, tweeting out gripping photos of scenes on Air Force One, snippets of Bush's conversations with his aides, and other surreal behind-the-scenes moments of the day that united Americans in their grief and shock. And later, in their determination. Fleischer was also asked to paint a picture of what a live Twitter thread of September 12th would look like, which prompted him to recall several eerie scenes and conversations. CIA had concluded it wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when a second wave would take place. Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary.
As for the atmosphere at 1600 Penn, he said, it had drastically altered. And physically the White House was a different place, he said. Instead of places at the entrance where there was one Secret Service agent, there were now two. They had doubled. There were agents at various portals. Secret Service agents who normally had their handguns and holsters at the belt where you couldn't see them, now carried long guns out and visible inside the West Wing. That was just a shock to me, he continued. I saw that on September 12th. Later that day, Fleischer said he accompanied President Bush to the Walter Reed Medical Center to visit the wounded from the attack on the Pentagon. 184 people died when terrorists hijacked American Airlines Flight 77 and flew into the U.S. Defense Headquarters. When we walked in, the head physician said to President Bush, "I wish we had more patients to show you," Fleischer said. Because most people died, there were very few wounded in the attack on the Pentagon. The head physician said to President Bush, "I wish we had more patients to show you. Because most people died, there were very few wounded in the attack on the Pentagon." The president's trip to the Pentagon that day, the moving nature of going to the Pentagon, and one scene that still sticks out in my mind, is the president went there and a giant American flag was unfurled at the Pentagon, he added. We're seeing the mortuary workers in their white suits covered all weight, still dealing with finding bodies. This is how fresh and vivid everything was still, one day after September 11th. Saturday marked 20 years since the 9/11 terror attacks, which claimed 2,996 lives.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.